You are tuned to ARP on the Accelerated Radio Network. It's 12 noon, and it's time to have lunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Bringing money talk you can understand. And now here's your host, Miss Charline.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Miss Charline, and we're having lunch with the Finance Bunch. Today in our studio, we have Mr. Nathan Finch, and we also have Miss Sandy Sunshine. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you today?
Wonderful.
Good.
Very
We're going to
good.
be talking about creative ways of making money. That's our subject today. You know, as you know, in today's economy, there are very few jobs that give pensions and back in the olden days, there used to be, you graduate from college and you get your degree and you go work for a corporation, you work there 30 years, you get a pension, you have your Social Security, and you move on with your life. If you had, extra income, you would invest it in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or whatever, and you use those funds also to complement the money you were getting. Well, in today's economy, that's not necessarily the case. In a lot of cases, you have to create your own finance, and that's why on this show we promote people being entrepreneurs, creating their own income, and that way they can create their own destiny. So today, you guys are pretty much experts in that area, so I'd like to talk to you about what creative ways you've come up with to create income for yourselves. How's that?
That sounds great.
Okay. So Nathan.
Yes.
What do you do, and how have you created income for yourself?
Okay, I'm a professional organizer, and that's a term that probably most people, especially in my generation, are pretty familiar with by this point. The industry has been around for a decent amount of time. Right. But for those listeners and viewers that don't know, a professional organizer is typically someone that comes in and organizes your space. They help you declutter and organize your items and in the rooms and your offices and stuff like that. I am a professional organizer that specializes in that type of organization, but I also help people manage their schedules, and I help people manage their moving and relocations.
Okay, so, and Sandy, what's your specialty?
Well, I would have to say that I am a professional independent contractor.
Okay.
What
does that mean?
Well, I actually, I figured out the things that I like to do, and I found ways to do them, and everything kind of fits together to make me a decent income.
Wow. And what are some examples of the things you do?
I play princesses and face paint at kids' birthday parties on the weekends.
Oh, you're the pretty princess.
I'm the pretty princess, yeah.
Okay. And so you do birthday parties on the weekends, which frees your week up.
Yeah, to do auditions or because as a model and actress, a lot of times you're looking for other jobs, and I found that when I was serving or anything like that, I didn't have the schedule to then take time off for an audition. So I kind of figured out how to do the other things that I also love doing. And so now even when I go to an audition, it doesn't matter whether or not I get it or not, because I'm not doing a horrible job that I don't like.
Right.
To make the bills. I'm enjoying all my work.
Right, so that when you do audition, if, you can audition for things you actually want to do, not audition for parts that you may or may not want, but it would help you pay bills.
Yeah.
So it gives you more freedom and flexibility.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I have to say that I second that too, because I also was a server in the past. And for me, I feel like once I dropped that, that's when I was able to be really creative and really enjoy everything that I was doing and not be stuck with the job that I just couldn't stand and not have even the mental or emotional capacity to really pursue the things I wanted to.
Well, I think that brings up a good point, because sometimes we hold on to jobs or, ways of financing our income out of need and out of fear of letting go. And then when you do let go, you realize that it gives you room to be more creative.
Yeah, actually on that, I found that a lot of the times when I was chasing down, like say a $10 an hour job, I'm trying to fit my schedule for that and I can't get to auditions, I would actually miss a lot of jobs that would come up that paid more.
Right.
So now being free to say yes or no to whatever job allows me, I still believe in being faithful to your work, which means always showing up on time. And if you say you're going to do something, you you do it. Like I'll be scheduled for a job, but if by chance I have to cancel something, I'll usually try and mention a replacement. That would be really good. Or apologize profusely.
Right.
Not just not show up, you know, like, because I think that also part of keeping that independent lifestyle, or independent contractor lifestyle, is having such a work ethic that they always want to pick you when a job is available.
Right. Now, and Nathan, we talked about this, and, it sounds easy, because you're doing it now, but the road to get there is the part where people say, okay, that sounds good on the radio, that sounds good on YouTube, but how do I actually do it? And so, Nathan, could you take us through your step-by-step process of how you got to be independent and have your own business, and not rely on just, like you said, the 9 to 5 or the waiter job or whatever it was that really took up more time than you were willing to give?
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to say before I go into that the journey is obviously different for everyone, and I am not telling anyone to quit their jobs.
Please don't quit your day job. That is not what we're talking about.
We definitely want to make.
Do not quit your day job.
We definitely want to make smart choices,
right?
And I held on to mine for a while. I did have to wean off of it, and that was the right decision for me. I went down. I worked 5 shifts a week at a restaurant job for a while, and I went down to 4 eventually, and that was a real uncomfortable thing for me to do at the time, which is so funny looking back on. And then I was, one day I had the courage to just be like, you know what, I can only work this one day, and that's it. So I only worked that one day, and I just made the rest happen. But as far as the step-by-step was concerned, and my encouragement to anybody that's looking to be independently employed or be self-employed and be able to do your own thing and make your own schedule and that sort of thing is to do something to move in a direction.
Right.
So for me, my step-by-step was I went back to school to finish up my degree because I hadn't finished it and at the time. And so I went back to school, and that was my first step, to just do something. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And pretty quick after I went back to school, I decided that I wanted to be a business consultant, or so I thought. Right. And so I started looking for opportunities in that field, and I got one, and that's actually how you and I met.
That's right.
And it was a great opportunity, and I loved it, but the more I did it, the more I realized, what I really love doing, and the only thing that I like doing about business consulting is getting people organized. And guess what? That's pretty much what I've been doing my whole life in one way or another. When I was in the restaurant industry, I was in charge of inventory all the time because I was the only person that could stay on top of it and keep things organized. Right. So, I went from going back to school to saying, okay, I found a career that I think I'm interested in, to, okay, now that I'm kind of getting my feet wet in this career, I'm realizing that I'm not loving it. So what is it about it that I do love? And what skills do I have that are not only sellable, but that will make an impact and that I actually have a passion for? Because that's where you really have a sellable skill, is something that you're good at and that you're actually passionate about.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I decided, and it was a huge leap of faith, but I decided I don't want to be a business consultant anymore. I want to be a professional organizer. And so I took the leap, and I feel like I went out like gangbusters. Like all of a sudden I just did it, and I had clients and people were hiring me to do it. And
because you were passionate about it.
Yeah, it's something that's so easy for me to talk about because it's in my nature, and I sound like I know what I'm talking about because I do.
Right, exactly.
And that's that. And so now here I am. I'm almost a year into having my own business. And it's going really well. So,
well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. And, there's a couple of things in there that you said that really stuck in my mind. And one of those things that you said was, you have to have a passion for what you do. And so usually the things you're passionate about doing, you're gifted at. And, your gift will bring you income if you pursue it correctly, and your passion will give you the drive to do that. Another thing you mentioned was education.
Yes.
And sometimes we have to go back to school and get that degree, get that extra, documented proof that we know what we're talking about. Because in today's world, people want to know that you know what you're talking about.
Yes.
So again, going back and getting your degree wasn't, I applaud you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Because it's not easy when you're working and going to school. And I don't want anyone to think or take away from this conversation that what we're saying is, oh, it's so easy. I just woke up one morning and decided I was going to become independent contractor or I was going to become a professional organizer. And it just happened overnight.
Yeah.
It's progressive.
Yeah.
It's progressive.
And not to out myself here, but I definitely cried a lot of tears and threw a lot of tantrums throughout this whole process. So it, again, just to emphasize the fact that it's not easy.
Exactly. That's good to know. And I'm glad you said that. Being transparent, I respect that because, you get nervous. You get afraid, you cry.
You get discouraged.
But you have to keep going to make sure that you get to your goal. And Sandy, for you, what was your step-by-step process to independence?
Actually, it's funny because actually one of the companies I'm about to start up is teaching people how to get on their feet through in promotional marketing, because that's what I also one of my little jobs that I do. So I actually even have a step-by-step thing on even how to be an independent contractor in whatever it is that you want to do. So say you were, I want to build birdhouses because that's something that I love doing. I think that what you were saying is really key about loving that thing because when you do, it's just so easy. And in this day and age, we spend so much time at work.
Yes.
And then and a lot of times it's in a job that we don't like. So then we get home and we're just trying to recoup. And I think that that's why we're so angry with each other on the road, on the street, and everything is because we're taught that we need to do something that we don't like in order to afford things that we're going to have to replace really quick. and then like it's like it's a consumable world, and so then therefore even when we go home and in our relationships and with our families and with our friends, it's consumable. And we're not enjoying life as much. So I think kind of the first thing is even starting to do what you love doing. But one of the things that I did, because I've actually been an independent contractor since the time I was 9 years old.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like you, like I started babysitting before I was legally of age. Yeah. And I had my favorite clients and whatever. But and then how I ended up moving that into something I love doing, which is like being the best part of a kid's birthday party. Best part of a kid's year is amazing.
Party.
That's just one of the jobs that I do. But what I did was, as you're doing your work, like say you got a 9 to 5, if you really love building birdhouses, as we said before, you're probably wanting to do that anyway, right? So what you do is you start and you gotta accept a lower income first. So if it was working for other people, just to get the experience, like even with the kids' parties, I knew I wanted to do it. So I went with the first person that would hire me.
Right.
I didn't know how to face paint. I didn't know how to balloon twist. Right. I just had a willing heart.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I even teach in my course is I believe that I make a living off of being professional. Okay. So I'm always early. I'm always prepared so that when I'm ready to go, like when I'm at work, I'm ready to go.